I'm T-Set, and this is a Tea Time Lapse. After finishing the Halloween collab, I really wanted to launch into drawing T-Set to prepare for drawing the reference sheet I want to make of her later this month. But I found myself to be in a bit of a funk. So I ended up deciding to draw another character that I've been meaning to draw, Minimon. I really haven't done much with Minimon yet. I have the concept art, and then I also tried 3D modeling her head. When T-Set's Kitsune friend brought her modern human technology, she tried to interface with it using magic and ended up accidentally creating Minimon. Minimon is a variation on T-Set with her own consciousness, and she's inspired in part on my experiences being on the internet in the early 2000s. That time period where I was on Neopets, teaching myself HTML coding and pixeling, and some of the toys that came out in that time period, such as Aquapets. After drawing Timon's pose, I just needed something floating above her hand and ended up thinking of a flying ladybug, which then spiraled out of control to me drawing beetles all over this piece. I have kind of a weird relationship with insects because I think they're very cool and interesting, and I really appreciate their role in the world. But I also find them creepy. I think the shift might have happened in first grade after I got stung by a bunch of wasps, because I remember not being afraid of insects when I was 5. And now I have like an irrational level of fear of insects, while at the same time thinking that they're very cool and interesting. Like, you will find me recording videos of bumblebees and no one is making me do that. And yet, if they fly near me, I will whimper and run away. Even drawings of orb weavers or centipedes will creep me out, though. Beetles are definitely more in the cute area, like bumblebees are for me, even though I still don't really want them touching me. To figure out which beetles I wanted to draw other than ladybugs, I referenced Animal Crossing, so thank you so much to the people who run the wikis. If you ever need an assortment of bugs or fish for a picture, I find that Animal Crossing is a great place to start. The beetles that I included in this picture are ladybugs, dynastid beetles, horned atlas beetles, a saw stag beetle, a horned Hercules beetle, and my pronunciation of this might be wrong, Rosalia batesi beetles. Those are the blue ones with the spots. You'll see once I color them later. I'm doing slightly thicker liner than usual in this piece. I thought it might suit Minimon, but it's honestly kind of strange. Whenever I do noticeably thicker or thinner line art, I'm always like, oh, this is so odd. Even though I don't know that anyone else even notices. I wonder what Minimon sounds like. Should I learn how to use Utao? If I were to stream in the future, streams where I play video games would be hosted by Minimon instead of T-Set. Minimon is the one who understands technology, and she's also the one who is interested in things like video games. Ladybugs are pretty simple to draw, so I drew a lot of them. We used to get tons of ladybugs where I live when I was a kid. I remember picking them out of my hair before coming indoors on one occasion. You still see a good amount of them around here, but they aren't as intense as they used to be. I tried to stylize the beetles a bit, particularly their legs, because I wanted them to fit in better with Minimon. I was concerned that if the beetles looked too realistic, that Minimon would look out of place in the picture. It's not super noticeable in the ladybugs, but it is pretty noticeable in the stag beetles. I gave them these noodly legs, and I also gave some of them these funny eyes. This is one of the Rosalia batesi beetles. The horned Hercules beetle has like fuzziness or bristles underneath the top horn. A saw stag beetle, and a horned atlas beetle. I think I actually made the horns a bit too long on this horned atlas beetle. I'm also not sure about the eye placements on all of these. I did try, but it's hard to tell sometimes from the photographs. Palette-wise, this piece was inspired by a comic called Laika's Comet, drawn by Four Leaf Island, although I did use some placeholder colors while I did the flatting. Editing to all of the ladybugs as I work on them would be really chaotic and difficult to watch editing-wise, so I mostly just zoom out when I'm working on the ladybugs in this piece. That is the video downside to having small details scattered around the entire piece. So, for example here, I am adding the white to all of the ladybugs, but the black dots take long enough that I bothered to zoom in. Adding some marble patterns to the floating globes. And why not add some clouds? I still haven't developed a knack for this opal effect, so it still takes a lot of tinkering. The stars on the back of the hands and the beads of the anklet are actually the same material. It was just easiest to zoom in on the star above the head for this video. I decided to make the globes feel like they had a clear outer coating, so I erased the edges. It makes them feel more marble-like to me. Really nailing down the palette I want. And then on to the shading. I didn't vary the highlight color as much as I normally would. I was just trying something out. One of the unfortunate things about editing these is that I find things that I missed or would change about the artwork, and it can be a little bit frustrating. Sometimes I just make the edits for the final image in the video, but by that point I've already posted an earlier version of that artwork to social media. So often Patreon is the only place that gets the final image. Because the fact is most social media sites won't let you just edit the image that's in your post, and also I need to glaze everything for the internet now, which is such a bother. I try to sit on pictures long enough that I notice mistakes before I post them to social media, but I miss things anyway. But this piece has been really well received, so obviously the little mistakes that I've made here and there haven't amounted to much. And adding some purple bounce light. Purple wouldn't normally have been a color that I chose for this, considering that it's not present anywhere in the image. So it was a fun decision that was made for me by what I was referencing. Normally I probably would have made the bounce light a mix of the sky color and the marble color, but I think this was visually more interesting. Because the marbles are layered on top of each other, I have two different groups of marble layers, and you can see me toggle between them to help focus on which ones I'm working on at the moment. I've been playing around with this little stamp based upon my art tag. And here's the final piece. To give a little depth to the picture, I did end up adding in some atmospheric perspective, which in this case means taking elements that are further back in the picture and making them a bit more the color of the sky. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thanks to all of my patrons. The tablet and phone wallpaper versions of this image are available for download to my patrons.